إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أحييكم بتحية الإسلام وهي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So last week we started discuss about the hadith mukhtalit. So we discussed about the definition of ikhtilat. The definition of ikhtilat. We said the definition of ikhtilat in Arabic language is damage of memorization or the memorization of somebody change. So this is the definition of ikhtilat in Arabic language. The Arab used to say رجل مختلط إذا تغير عقله. If Arab said this man is mukhtalit, means that this man, his memorization is already changed. So, but definition of ikhtilat in hadith terminology, we said هو فساد العقل الراوي المقبول بسبب عارض يعارض له يجعله غير مقبول. We said that ikhtilat in hadith terminology, the definition of it is فساد العقل الراوي المقبول. If the narrator, that is siqa, his memorization is changed بسبب عارض يعارض له, because his memorization changed, because something happened to him that make his memorization to change. So for this reason the ulama rejected his hadith. So this is the definition of ikhtilat in hadith terminology. If the narrator, that is siqa, his memorization changed because something happened to him that changed his memorization. So for this reason the ulama rejected his hadith. So this called ikhtilat. So we discussed about the causes of ikhtilat, asbabul ikhtilat. We said the first causes of ikhtilat is al-kibr shadid, the old age. So what is the meaning of that? I explained for you. We say that if a rawi became an old, so his memorization changed, he cannot differentiate between his hadith and the other hadith. So this rawi, if he reached this position, the ulama rejected his hadith. We give the example like Abana bin Sam'a, Ibrahim bin Abbas as-Samiri, and Jarir bin Hazim. We will give the example of these narrators. All these narrators, before they are siqa, but when they become when they become old, so their memorization change because of old age. So for this reason, when their memorization change, when they become old, the ulama rejected their hadith. Then we discuss about the second cause of ikhtilat, al-asqam wal amrad. If al-asqam, disease, wal amrad, and sickness. So some narrators, if some disease affecting them, so this can cause the change of their memorization. So for this reason the ulama rejected their hadith. Missing Bashar bin Walid al-Kindi. So this Bashar bin Walid al-Kindi, before he's a Saduq, but he lost his memory. He lost his memory. So for this reason, the ulama rejected his hadith after he lost his memory. And we have Abdullah bin Jafar bin Gailan. Also, this Abdullah bin Jafar, he became a blind. Before he became a blind, he's a siqa. The ulama accepted his hadith. But after he became a blind, in the year 216 after Hijrah. 216 after Hijrah. So after he became a blind, 216 after Hijrah, then his memorization changed when in the year 218 after Hijrah. Then he passed away 220 after Hijrah. Then Muhammad bin Maymun al-Marwazi. Also Muhammad bin Maymun al-Marwazi, Abu Hamza as-Sakari. Also he became, his memorization changed after he became a blind. So I think we stop here. So now we start as-sabab al-thalis, as-sabab as-sali. The cause, the third cause of ikhtilat. Diya'ul kutub, diya' al-kutub aw ikhtiraqaha. If the rawi, he lost his book, or his book is burned with fire. So some narrators, if you remember, I explained for you. We are in asbab. We didn't finish it. Yes, the number 3. As-sabab al-thalis. As-sabab al-thalis. You see it in the page 2. In page 2. As-sabab al-thalis. The causes of ikhtilat. So, like I explained for you, some narrators, they cannot memorize the hadith offhand. So they used to write the hadith in the book. So the ulama say that this kind of narrators, if they used to write the hadith in the books, they have to put their book in the safe. They cannot allow anybody to touch their book. If the student came to them, then they bring the book from the safe and they give the hadith to the student. After they finish, they return the book back to the safe. So this kind of narrators, sometimes maybe he lost his book, or maybe the fire, it burned the book. So for this reason, these narrators cannot memorize the hadith. So at that, in this situation, so they started giving the hadith offhand. So they make a lot of mistake. So this is the reason why the ulama said they are mukhtalitin, because they didn't memorize, they only depending on their book. But after they lost their book, so they need to continue giving hadith to the student offhand. So when they do that, they make a lot of mistake. So this is among the causes of ikhtilat. So مثل ذلك Abdullah bin Lahi'a. Abdullah bin Lahi'a. This person Abdullah bin Lahi'a, like what Ibn Hajar said, قال Ibn Hajar Saduq. Before this, Abdullah bin Lahi'a is Saduq. If he narrated the hadith, his hadith is Hasan. But خلت بعد احتراق الكتب. This person, he became mukhtalit after his book is burned with fire. He had the book, so after his book burned with fire, so he cannot memorize the hadith. He started giving the hadith offhand. He make a lot of mistakes. So for this reason, the ulama rejected his hadith. Abdullah bin Lahi'a. Abdullah bin Lahi'a. Abdullah bin Lahi'a. Another example here is Ma'amar bin Rashid. Ma'amar bin Rashid. This Ma'amar bin Rashid, وهو ثقة. He's ثقة. Ma'amar bin Rashid is a ثقة. If he narrated the hadith, his hadith is authentic. Ma'amar bin Rashid. But when he traveled to Basra, so when he traveled to Basra, he lived his book in his hometown. His hometown is Yemen. So when he traveled to Basra, he lived his book in Yemen. So when he went to Basra, many students came to him in order he give them the hadith.
Yemen.
Yes, his hometown is Yemen. So sometimes he traveled to Basra in Iraq. So when he traveled to Basra, he left his book in the hometown in Yemen. So Ma'amar bin Rashid cannot memorize his hadith of head. So when he went to Basra, he started to give the hadith to the student of head. So for this reason, he make a lot of mistakes. So for this reason, the ulama said the hadith that Ma'amar bin Rashid he give the student in Basra, these hadiths are not authentic. But the hadiths that he give to the student in Yemen, the hadiths are authentic because he give the hadith to the student in Yemen from his book. But in Basra, from his memorization, so he make a lot of mistakes. So this is the another example. So as-sabab rabi', as-sabab al-rabi'.
The page today? Is it on the notes that you did today?
Page 3.
Today?
No, today. Still in the pages last week. Page 3. As-sabab rabi'. Al-rabi'. Here. You see it?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, now. Okay. Did you see the as-sabab rabi'? Okay.
Sebab about Ma'amar bin Rashid is now.
Yes.
In Yemen, he is Sahih.
Yes.
Because his kitab.
Yes. But in Basra, he left his book in the Yemen. So when he went to Basra, he didn't travel together with his books. So he gave hadith of head. So he make a lot of mistakes. So for this reason, the hadith that he given in Basra, it's weak. But the hadith that he given in Yemen are authentic because he given the hadith in Yemen from his book, but in Basra from his memory. So he make a lot of mistake.
But if he traveled to Basra, he brought his book, he would have been Sahih.
Yes, but the reason why his hadith in Basra is weak because he cannot memorize his hadith. Just he depend on his book. So he left his book in Yemen. So when he traveled to Basra, he give the hadith without his book. So he make a lot of mistakes. Then as-sabab rabi', maut aziz, maut aziz. If narrator he lost the person who he loved, this cause. If the narrator he lost somebody that he loved, yes, Moto Aziz means the narrator he lost somebody that he loved. So some narrators, if they lost somebody that they love, this can affect their memorization. So their memory can change. So some narrators, if they lost their son, their children, this can affect their memory. So they started confused in hadith because his children passed away, or was zawja, or he lost his wife, Maybe some narrators, if his wife passed away, their memory they change because of he lost his wife. Well,
his memory go together with the wife.
yes, because maybe he loved her, or maybe he loved his children, so this can affect him. Yes, so he started confused. Walidain, or he lost his parent.
Mautu Aziz is not a name of a person.
Yes. Maut means pass away. Aziz, the person who you love. Aziz, yes. If I say Aziz, it means I love the person that is yes. Aziz means the narrator, he lost the person who he loved. So now Maut Aziz, no, Maut is death, and Aziz the person that you love. Yes. Like you lost your son, or you lost your daughter, or zawj, or you lost your wife, walidain, or you lost your parent. So
Aziz is strong.
yes, the person that you love him very too much. Yes, Aziz. This it happened for some people. Somebody, if he lost his son, so he started confused. He cannot control himself. Maybe you can see him like a mental man because he lost his son, or he lost his wife, like this. So because this happened with some ulama al-Hadith, when they lost their children, or they lost their wives, or they lost their parent, they started confused. Their memory changed. So وَيُؤَثِّرْ ذَلِكَ عَلَىٰ إِدْرَاكِ الرَّاوِي. So if he lost his children, or he lost his wife or parent, so this affecting his understanding, wal-hibs, and this affecting his memorization, affecting his understanding and memorization. So he cannot understand, and he cannot memorize again. Misalu dhalik, the example of this, Muhammad bin Abdul Qadir al-Ja'fari an-Nablisi. Naam, Muhammad bin Abdul Qadir al-Ja'fari an-Nablisi. Muhammad bin Abdul Qadir al-Ja'fari an-Nablisi. An-Nablisi.
It's a country.
Naam. Nablus. You know Nablus? So this person, Mata ibn, his son passed away. This person, Muhammad bin Abdul Qadir, this narrator, his son passed away. The name of his son Sharafuddin al-Qadi. So when his son passed away, Sharafuddin al-Qadi, وَتَغَيَّرَ حِفْظُهُ. So for this reason, his memorization changed. وَاخْتَلَطَ بِسَبَبِ ذَلِكَ. So for this reason, he became a mukhtalit. So this is the example. I gave only the example of the person who lost his son. I didn't give the example of the person who lost his wife. Okay. Just this one is okay. You understand? I give the example. One example is okay. Yes. You understand? This person, Muhammad bin Abdul Qadir al-Jafari and Nablusi, he lost his son. The name of the son is Sharafuddin al-Qadi. So for this reason, tagayyara hibzuhu, his memorization changed. واختلط بسبب ذلك. Because of this, he became a mukhtalit. So, السبب الخامس, the fifth cause, the cause number 5 of the ikhtilat is saraqatul mal. If maybe the thieves enter your house and stole your property. So some people, if the thieves stole their properties, they become a mukhtalit. Maybe somebody, the thief stole his car. So this affecting his memorization. Or maybe he have maybe 10,000 ringgit in his house. The thief enter his house and stole the 10,000 ringgit. So this affecting his memorization. He became a mukhtalit. Some narrators, when the thief stole their properties, they became a mukhtalit. So, for example, Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani. Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani Yes, maybe it's the name of his title of his family or something like that. I didn't know. Is it Ghassan? Is it a town or not? I didn't check it. Maybe it's the name of the town, or maybe a title of his family. I didn't know. Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani, وقال Abu Hatim, he said that da'if al-hadith. This person is weak. Why? تركه اللصوص فأخذوا متاعه فاختلط. Because the thieves enter his house and they stole his properties. After they stole his properties, then his memorization changed and he became a mukhtalit. وقال أبو داود سرق له خلي فأنكر عقله. The thief stole his property and فأنكر عقله, then his memory or his memorization changed. So this among the asbab. I give you 5 causes of ikhtilat. So these are the causes that if happen to any rawi, his memorization, it will change. So after his memorization change, from that time the ulama cannot accept his hadith. So these are the asbab of ikhtilat, the causes of ikhtilat. Okay.
All these will be explained, is it?
Yes.
Will be explained in other words, this hadith is muhtilat.
Yes. The ulama said this hadith is weak because in the isnad of this hadith we have one rawi, his name Fulan bin Fulan. He's a mukhtalit. So for
that shows that they have done a study or
yes.
detailed study, and that's why they have.
Yes, each rawi, I give you example here. They are in the books of ilmu, kutubul rijal, you can find the more details of their profile inside. Yes, you can. They mention everything regarding any rawi. Mention anything regarding for him, especially if you read Tahzibul Kamal, the Hafiz Mizzi. This Tahzibul Kamal is available at UIA library, so you can ask her, maybe she borrow it for you. Yes, in Arabic. It's available in UIA library. this Tahzibul Kamal.
Ustaz, sorry. We are in the process of learning Arabic.
Yes.
So bit by bit, when we read the thing, we can catch up a little bit. But it is possible you read that in Arabic first. Maybe we do our homework to find out maybe we learn the Arabic through that also.
Okay. So you need at the same time I teach you Arabic and Hadith.
This is a sort of practical part of
Yes.
Arabic usage.
Yes. So you mean that each word here you can go and check for the meaning. It's okay. So you need always I write in Arabic.
You read it in Arabic.
I read.
And write.
Okay.
You submit like this.
Okay. Okay, so no problem. Now we finish about the asbab ikhtilat. Number 3, anwa al-mukhtalitin. This paper that I give you. Anwa al-mukhtalitin. The types of mukhtalitin. The types. Anwa means the types. Types. The types. The types. So we have 3 types of mukhtalitin. We have 3 types of mukhtalitin. النوع الأول والنوع الثاني والنوع الثالث. We have 3 types of mukhtalitin. So we started with the first types. We started with the first types. So النوع الأول ما كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأوقات دون بعض. ما كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأوقات دون بعض. The first types of hadith مختلطون is من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأوقات دون بعض. مقبول في بعض الأوقات دون بعض is the types of narrators that their hadith is accepted in sometimes, and also their hadith is rejected in another time. So this is the first type of mukhtalitun. ما كان حديثه مقبول في بعض أوقات دون بعض is the narrators that their hadith is accepted in sometimes, and also their hadith is rejected in another times. So this is the first type of mukhtalitun. من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأوقات دون بعض. They are the narrators that their hadith is accepted in some time, and in another times also their hadith is rejected. So وهو على الأنواع. So these types also it divided into 3. Yes, these first types divided into 3. Yes, we said the first type is the narrators that narrated the hadith, that their hadith is accepted in sometimes in, and another times their hadith is rejected, and another times their hadith is rejected. So this first type I said divided into 3. One, man kana da'afu hadithu fi ba'd al-awqat duna ba'd. The first is the narrators that their hadith is weak in sometimes, and in another times their hadith is accepted, and another times their hadith is accepted. So wa haula isiqat, وَهَؤُلَاءِ siqat. These people, the origin of them, they are siqat. The origin of them, they are siqat. الَّذِينَ خَلَطُوا فِي آخِرِ أُمْرِهِمْ. But they become مُخْتَلِطُونَ in the end of their life. In the past time of their life, they are siqat. But when in the end of their life, they become muhtalitun. So this is the first types. This is the first size under these types. The narrators that sometimes their hadiths are weak, and in another times their hadith is accepted. So these people, the origin of them, they are siqat. They are siqat. But in the end of their life, they became muhtalitun. So فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ خَلَّتَ تَخَلِيتًا فَاحِشًا. Among these people, some of them, their ikhtilat is very worst. Their ikhtilat is very worst. Some of them, their ikhtilat is very worst. Some of them, their ikhtilat is very worst. مثل Ibrahim bin Abbas al-Samiri. Example, yes. Ibrahim bin Abbas al-Samiri. This person, his ikhtilat is very worst. His ikhtilat is very worst. But before, he's a siqa. But in the end of his life, he became a mukhtalit, and his ikhtilat is very worse. Ibrahim bin Abbas al-Samiri. Ibrahim bin Abbas al-Samiri. Ibrahim bin Abbas al-Samiri.
He was the other type, so he was.
Yeah, this is, I give the example for him in courses, and also I give example for him in types also. So his ikhtilat is very worst. ومنهم من خلت تخليطا يسيرا. ومنهم من خلت تخليطا يسيرا. Among these, some of them, their ikhtilat is very little bit. Their ikhtilat is very little bit. Like ومن أمثلة ذلك, the example of this narrators, Sufyan bin Uyayna. Sufyan bin Uyayna. This Sufyan bin Uyayna is a siqa, is imam. He's among the narrators of Bukhari. He's among the narrators of Bukhari. Bukhari narrated many hadiths from him. For example, I give you example of the hadith that you know. The hadith that you know. Which hadith? Hadith innamal a'mal binniyah. Bukhari narrated, he said, قال البخاري حدثنا عبد الله بن زبير الحميدي قال حدثنا سفيان قال حدثنا يحيى بن سعيد الأنصاري قال أخبرنا محمد بن إبراهيم التيمي أنه سمع علقمة بن وقاص يقول سمعت عمر بن الخطاب على المنبر يقول سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما الأعمال بالنية وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الدنيا يصيبها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Uyayna. Yes, you see Sufyan bin Uyayna. So this is siqa. But in the end of his life, he became a mukhtalit. But his ikhtilat is little bit. Yeah, it's minor. It's minor.
It's just the opposite of Ibrahim. Opposite, because this.
You mentioned about fahisha means very worst. But this one,
that is Ibrahim, isn't it?
this Ibrahim, yes. Yes, Ibrahim bin Abbas, yes. Yeah, but they are all in the same types. Because we said these types, some of them their ikhtilat is very worse, and some of them they have only minor ikhtilat.
In other words, when we see the name Sufyan bin Uyayna, we can take that as Siqah or...
Yes, it's Siqah. It's Siqah. So, because his ikhtilat is minor, and this ikhtilat happened to him only before 1 year he passed away. Because you see here, I write it, I think. You see, Sufyan bin Uyayna ikhtalata qabla wafatihi bisana. He became a mukhtalit before he passed away with 1 year only. And his ikhtilat also at that time is very minor. His ikhtilat is very minor at that time. So this the second thing is,
but he falls under the category of fahisha.
No, he's not fahisha.
What you give the example is just the opposite, right?
They are all in the same types.
Error.
Yes, no error under these types, but some of them their ikhtilat are
Obvious, some
yes
are
minor. Yes.
In other words, when we see a hadith with Ibrahim bin Abbas, then we have to see that it could be a severe change.
Yes.
Change.
Yes, he have to also this person, not all his hadith, not all. Yes, after he became a mukhtalit, because we said this type, some their hadith in sometimes are accepted and in another time is not accepted. So you have to differentiate. If you come to the hukum of hadith mukhtalit, I will explain for you. This is the reason why the ulama wrote the book in ikhtilat. This book only mentioned the names of the narrators that are mukhtalitun, like Imam al-Ala'i. He wrote the book al-ikhtilat, al-mukhtalitin. He mentioned it, or many narrators that they become mukhtalit. It's only one mujallad, but yes, in Arabic language. Also, it's available in UAE. It's available in UAE also. You can find it there. Okay. Then number 2, man asabahu darar fi akhir umrihi. Man asabahu darar fi akhir umrihi. The narrators that some disease affecting them in the end of their lives. In the end of their life. Okay. Man asabahu darar fi akhir umrihi. The narrators that some disease affecting them in the end of their life, فكان لا يحفظ جيدا. So for this reason he cannot memorize very well. For this reason of disease that affecting him, he cannot memorize very well. Misalu zalika Abdurrazak as-Sun'ani, Abdurrazak as-Sun'ani from Sana'a, Yemen. Sana'a. Abdurrazak as-Sun'ani from Sana'a, Yemen. Abdurrazak. Mistake. Yes, it's Zay. I make a mistake because yesterday when I write it, I am very tight. I very tight. So
affecting your health.
So I became a mukhtalit also. Yeah? I became a mukhtalit. Yeah?
You rest and then you get back the memory.
Yes, when I rest, my memory came back. Yes. So alhamdulillah, I'm not a mukhtalit. I'm still young. Alhamdulillah.
What's the correction?
Correction, wa to zay. Abdul Razak. You see? Here? Now, wawun, this wawun, correct it to zay. This one, wawun, this one is zay. It's not wawun. Nah. Naam, Abdul Razak. So, this Abdul Razak, وَقَدْ ذَهَبَ بَصَرُهُ فِي آخِرِ أُمْرِهِ. In the end of his life, he became a blind. So, وَكَانَ يُلْقِي الْأَحَادِيثُ الْبَاطِلَةِ. So, for this reason, some students, they put the hadith that are not authentic in his book. So he cannot differentiate between his hadith and the other hadith that some student entering it in his book. So for this reason, any student narrated the hadith from him after he became a blind, his hadith is rejected. Abdul Razak as-Sun'ani, he wrote the book. Did you hear Musannaf Abdul Razak? He have the book, this Abdul Razak, this Musannaf Abdul Razak, also available in UAE. Musannaf Abdul Razak. The name of the book.
It is before he became.
Yes, he became a blind.
What's the meaning of Musannaf?
It's the name of the book. The name of the book. Me sannafa yusannifu tasnifan means you write a book. Sannafa means if you write a book. Now.
He cannot differentiate between his hadith and other people's hadith.
Yes. So for this reason, after he became a blind, all the hadiths, if somebody narrated hadith from him, so we cannot accept. Why? Because he cannot differentiate between his own hadith and another hadith. Because some student entering some hadith that is not authentic in his book, so because they saw he became blind, he cannot see. So for this reason, when the ulama know that some student enter some hadith inside his book, so for this reason, the ulama in this time only, they rejected his hadith.
After he became blind.
Yes, after he became a blind.
But he cannot read already his book, right? Because he already blind.
He's blind, he cannot. Yes, he cannot, because maybe he didn't memorize all his hadith. Maybe he depend on his book. So when he became a blind, he cannot see. So the student used that opportunity. They put the hadith in his book. So if he want to give the hadith, he appointed one student to read his book to the people. He sit down. So this student, they read another hadith and he already approved it. He expected that his hadith, but it's not his hadith, because they enter many hadiths inside his book.
If only he wasn't blind, he might have punished the student.
So he didn't know, but the ulama already know that. They already know that, because he became old and he became a blind. Many cases to him.
In other words, it didn't happen when he was, you can see, it didn't happen only when he became blind.
Yes.
Then started to change.
Yes, started to enter some hadith inside his book. Talqin.
Ustaz, they were able to identify which student is doing the...
No, he didn't know.
No, I mean the ulama later on when they find out, they
Uh-huh.
research, so they know.
Yes, sometimes, yes, the ulama sometimes they mention some student that do that. Yes, the particular student. Sometimes the ulama, they said this person, he is the one who, yes, entering some hadith in the book. But sometimes the ulama, they didn't mention their names, the particular student that who that do that. No, they are not sahaba. All this, they are not sahaba. All are atba'u tabi'in. Yes, not tabi'in, atba'u tabi'in. Yes, yes. Because sahaba, they cannot do that. All the sahaba are udul. All the sahaba of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the sahaba, all of them, they are udul. You cannot accusing any sahabi.
But during the Prophet's time,
Yes.
is there any cases where the Sahabat had become a teacher to Sahabat?
Yes. Yes, yes. Even in the era of the Prophet, some Sahaba give fatwa.
So that particular Sahaba,
Uh-huh.
the teacher, have students who are also Sahaba.
Yes.
They never change anything.
No, no. The Sahaba cannot do that.
Does it mean those who are narrators, Sahaba who are narrators?
Narrators from Sahaba.
In other words, they are not all the Sahaba. Sahaba, you have mentioned 120,000 Sahaba.
Yes.
So
That attended Hajjatul Wada together with Prophet. 120,000 that attended Hajjatul Wada together with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And among the 120,000, there are only a few who narrates.
Yes, only few. Not all Sahaba are ulama. Not all of them they narrated the hadith. Not all the Sahaba of the Prophet narrated the hadith. Maybe some Sahaba just only meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They didn't narrate anything from him. So you can find the Sahabi. We have many Sahaba. Even us, we didn't know their names. The ulama, they didn't write their names. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows them. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows them. Because in this Hajjatul Wada, 120,000 meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some of them, after they finish the Hajj, they return back to their village. So the ulama cannot know them. Only Allah knows them. But the thing that ulama explain, after 110 after Hijrah, if somebody came, he claimed he said a Sahabi, we cannot accept. After 110 after Hijrah, if somebody came and claimed that he's a Sahabi, we cannot accept. 110 after Hijrah. 110 after Hijrah, if somebody claimed that he's a Sahabi, we cannot accept, because before Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away with some few days after he finished prayer, is Maghrib prayer, Isha prayer, or Fajr prayer, he said to his Sahaba, all the people that are alive now, after 100 years, he must die. So when the Prophet said that, it's 10 years after Hijrah. So if you add 100 plus 10, 110 after Hijrah. So after 110 after Hijrah, if any person claims that he's a Sahabi, it's not true. Because this is the reason why the last person who passed away, or the last Sahabi who passed away is who? I inform you his name. No. I already mentioned his name many times. Muhtalit also. This one is Abu Tufail Amir bin Wasila. Abu Tufail Amir bin Wasila. He passed away 110 after Hijrah. Some ulama said he passed away 109 after Hijrah. So he's there. Abu Tufail Amir Amir. His name is Amir. Amir bin Wasila. Amir bin Wasila. Bin Wasila. He is the last Sahabi Wasila. So next time if I ask you, maybe you can remember. No, not bin Amir. Abu Tufayl is his kunya. His kunya.
Last Sahaba.
Yes, last Sahaba who passed away.
Passed away at 109.
Some ulama said 109, some ulama said 110.
Can you explain when did Rasulullah say this? Rasulullah gave the meaning.
After hadith in Bukhari, after he finished the Fajr prayer or Isha prayer, I forgot actually is it, he said to his Sahaba, for any person who is alive at this time, after 100 years, he must to die. He must to die. So after 100 years.
And that is the proper saying, right?
No, Prophet he said 100 years.
Yeah.
But why we said 110? Because when the Prophet said that is 10 years after Hijrah. So if 100 plus 10, 110. Okay.
And the person alive this time
After 100 years, he must to die.
must die.
Yes, he have to die or he already passed away.
For the dead.
Yes, dead.
So the dead after 100.
Yes. Okay.
Rasulullah said this at his last Hajjatul.
No. After he returned back from Hajjatul Wada, and after he come back from Hajjatul Wada, before he passed away with few days. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. So number 3, man ihtarakat kutubuhu aw surikat fahaddasa min hibzihi fawahim. The narrators that their books is burned with fire or they lost their books. So these narrators, before their books is burned with fire, their hadith is accepted. But after their books burned with fire, their hadith is rejected because because they given the hadith from their memorization for him. They make a lot of mistakes. Misal zalika, the example of this, like I informed you before, Abdullah bin Lahi'a ikhtalata ba'da ikhtiraq kutubihi. Abdullah bin Lahi'a, he became a mukhtalit after his book it burned with fire. Qala Ibn Hibban he said, Sima man sami'a minhu qabla ikhtiraq kutubihi mislu Abadila Abdullah bin Wahab wa Ibn Mubarak wa Abdullah bin Yazid al-Muqra'i wa Abdullah bin Maslama al-Qanabi fasima'uhum sahih.
Yes, we are lost.
You are lost.
So fast.
No. Just I read in Arabic. I read it. I will explain. وكان ابن لهيئة من الكاتبين الحديث. So قال Ibn Hibban he said, سمع من سمع منه. The narrators that narrated hadith from Ibn Lahi'a قبل احتراق كتبه, before his book it burned with fire. Mislu Abadila, like Abadila. Who is Abadila? Abadila means the person who his name started with Abdullah. If we said Abadillah means the person who his name started with Abdullah. So these people, Abdullah bin Wahab and Abdullah bin Mubarak and Abdullah bin Yazid al-Muqra'i and Abdullah bin Maslama al-Ka'anabi, these four Abadillah, they narrated the hadith from Ibn Lahiyah before his book with Burn with Fire. So if you find the hadith of these people, four of them narrated from Ibn Lahiyah, their hadith that narrated from Ibn Lahiyah is Hasan, because Ibn Lahiyah before he's a Saduq. Did you get? I repeat again. I repeat inshallah. I repeat. I said Ibn Lahiyah, Abdullah, number 3. You see number 3?
Ibn Lahiyah kat mana?
Yang ketiga. Lahiyah yang ketiga. Okay. She's terribly lost.
No. She's a Sikha.
Major lost.
Okay, did you find the place? Okay.
Lahiyah is the teacher.
Yes, so this Abdullah bin Lahiyah,
Is the teacher.
he's Saduq, but he became a Mukhtalit after his book It Burned with Fire. So Qala Ibn Hibban he said, Sima'u man sami'a minhu qabla ihtiraq kutubihi, the narrators that narrated the hadith from Ibn Lahiyah before his book It Burned with Fire, Misl Abadillah, like Abadillah. I say, what is the meaning of Abadillah? The person that his name started with Abdullah. So these people that narrated the hadith from Ibn Lahiyah before his book It Burned with Fire are Abdullah bin Wahab. The second one, Abdullah bin Mubarak. Number 3, Abdullah bin Yazid al-Muqra'i. Then number 4, Abdullah bin Maslama al-Ka'anabi. So Ibn Hibban, he said that Fasima'uhum sahih. So these people, when they narrated the hadith from Ibn Lahiyah, their hadith is authentic, is sahih, because they narrated the hadith from Ibn Lahiyah before his book with Burned with Fire. So for this reason, he's not a mukhtalit at that time, because he just gave the hadith from his book. So these four of Abadillah, they narrated the hadith from him before he became a mukhtalit, because when he gave them their hadith, he gave them through his book. So after his book was Burned with Fire, so he started giving the hadith of head. So he make a lot of mistakes. So for this reason, all the narrators that narrated hadith from him after his book was Burned with Fire, their hadith is rejected. One misal Sani, the second example is Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani. bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani. Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam al-Ghassani.
Ghassani is with Shadda, right?
Al-Ghassani, yes, with Shadda. No, with Shadda.
Is the daughter, right?
Yes, it's the daughter. Okay.
They use kunyah sendiri.
His name is Abdullah. His name is Abdullah. His name is his name is Abdullah. Abdullah bin Abi Maria al-Qassani. Okay, this is second example I already mentioned for you. This person اختلط بعد أن سرق متاعه. He became a mukhtalit after the thieves stole his property. So this is the first types of mukhtalitin. This is the first types of mukhtalitin. So النوع الثاني, we enter النوع الثاني. Or is enough for you? We enter the second types, or is enough for you?
Can go on.
You can go on?
Yes. But if you're tired, it's enough.
No, I'm not tired. Yes. Abu Bakr bin Abi Maryam. Number. النوع الثاني. النوع الثاني, the second types of hadith mukhtalit, the second types of hadith al-mukhtalit. The second types of hadith al-mukhtalit. So are you ready? We enter second types. Okay. النوع الثاني. Slowly. Okay. النوع الثاني, the second types of hadith al-mukhtalit. من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأماكن دون بعض. من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأماكن دون بعض. من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأماكن دون بعض. من كان حديثه مقبول في بعض الأماكن دون بعض. Is the narrators that their hadith is accepted when they give the hadith in some cities and towns, but their hadith also is rejected when they give this hadith in another town. You understand? Man kana hadithuhu. Naam.
Pause.
Okay, pause. Okay.
Sometimes rejected, sometimes accepted.
Yes, when he delivered the hadith in, maybe for example he delivered the hadith in KL, so the hadith that he gave in KL is accepted. But yes, but when he traveled to Johor, when he delivered the hadith in Johor, so the hadith that he gave in Johor is rejected.
It can be different hadith, right? Ustaz?
Yes.
The same hadith.
No, we said when he in KL, all the hadiths that he gave in KL is accepted, is authentic.
But he take the same hadith.
No, not actually the same hadith, but the one person, but in another town, in KL his hadith is accepted, but when he traveled to Johor, his hadith is rejected. So this is the second type of mukhtalitun. So mukhtalitun, in some town, if they give the hadith is accepted, but in another town, if they give the hadith is rejected.
What's the difference with the first one?
This one, time. Maybe in KL, we say time. This maybe it will be happening in one town. it will be happening in one town. Maybe in 1995 he gave hadith in KL. His hadith in 1995 is accepted, but in 2014 the same he's living in KL. When he gave a hadith in 2014, his hadith is rejected. This is time, period of time. But the second one is the place. In KL, the hadith that he deliver accepted. In Johor, the hadith that he deliver is rejected. So this is the second type of mukhtalitun. I hope you understand. I repeat again. Man kana hadithuhu maqbul fi ba'd al-amakin duna ba'd. They are the narrators that when they deliver their hadith in some towns and cities, their hadith is accepted. But when they deliver the hadith in another town or another cities, their hadith is rejected. Hum ala naw'ain. Hum ala naw'ain. This naw'ain, these types also divided into two. Divided into two types. One, man haddasa fi makan lan yakun ma'ahu kutubuhu fahtalat wa haddasa fi makan akhar min kutubihi fadabit. Man haddasa, the first one, man haddasa fi makan is the narrators that they give the hadith in some town. Lam yakun ma'ahu kutubuhi, but when he given the hadith in that town, he given the hadith without his book. He didn't come with his book in that town. He didn't come with his book in that town. So when he give the hadith of head in this town, fakhtalat, he make a lot of mistakes. Wa haddasa fi makanin akhar, but when he traveled to another town, wa haddasa fi makanin akhar min kutubihi, but when he traveled to another town, he give hadith from his book for dhabit. So his hadith at that time is, he didn't make any mistake, so his hadith is accepted. The hadith is accepted. You understand? In KL, when he delivered the hadith, he didn't come together with his book in KL. He already left his book in his home, so he traveled to KL. So the many students came to him. They already know his name. This Ustad is the maybe Imam in hadith. So when the student in KL hear about him, he already visiting KL, they came to him to say, oh Ustaz, we need to give us hadith. So he already left his book in his town. So maybe he feel ashamed. He said, I cannot give you. So he said, okay, I will try, I give you. So he started giving the hadith of head. He make a lot of mistakes. So we said all the students that narrated the hadith from him in KL, their hadith is rejected. That narrated hadith from him in KL, his hadith is rejected.
But it's not necessarily be all, right?
It's not necessarily be all. So this is the reason why we say these second types. But when he returned back to his home, his student came also. He gave the hadith from his book. So at that time he didn't make any mistake. So for this reason his hadith at that time is accepted. Misalu zalika Ma'amar bin Rashid. 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 So like I explained before, Ma'amar bin Rashid, Ma'amar bin Rashid. Qala Yaqub bin Shayba. Yaqub bin Shayba, he said that Sima'u ahlul Basra min Ma'mar hina qadima alayhi fihi ittirab li'anna kutubuhu lan takun ma'ahu. Ma'mar, Yaqub bin Shayba, he said that when the Ma'mar visit Basra, he traveled to Basra. So the people of Basra came to Ma'mar and narrated hadith from him. The people of Basra came to Ma'mar and narrated hadith from him. So the Ma'mar, he gave the hadith to the people of Basra through his memorization. But actually Ma'mar, his memorization is not too strong to memorize the hadith. Only he depends on his book. So when he traveled to Basra, he already left his book in Yemen. Yes, he left his book in Yemen. So at this situation, all the people of Basra that narrated hadith from Ma'mar, their hadith is rejected. Why? Because when the Ma'mar give them hadith in Basra, he make a lot of mistake because he given the hadith up head. He didn't bring his book, so he make a lot of mistake. So for this reason, you see his hadith in Basra is weak, but his hadith in Yemen is authentic. His hadith in Basra is weak and his hadith in Yemen is authentic.
What's the meaning of
Ittirab.
What's the meaning?
You know the hadith in Muttarib that we read? Hadith Muttarib. You remember hadith in Muttarib? So Ittirab is the types of hadith that is weak. We explain hadith in Muttarib, if you remember.
Last week we visited.
No, last week. Muttarib. We gave many definition of Muttarib, the types of Muttarib, Ittirab. Yes. Okay. Misal Sani, the second example is Yazid bin Harun. Yazid bin Harun. Qala Ahmad bin Hanbal, he said Yazid bin Harun man sami'a minhu biwasit huwa asah mimman sami'a minhu bi Baghdad لأنه كان بواسط يلقن فيرجع إلى ما في الكتب. So Yazid bin Harun, Imam Ahmad, he said that the student that narrated hadith from him in Wasit is the name of town in Iraq. Wasit is the name of town in Iraq. Yes, the student that narrated hadith from him in Wasit, the name of the town in Iraq. So their hadith is more authentic than the student that narrated hadith from him in Baghdad. Yeah, Baghdad. You already know Baghdad in Iraq also is more authentic. Is more authentic than the student that narrated his hadith in Baghdad. Why? Because in Wasit, if he give the hadith, he will go back to his book to compound. This hadith is not any mistake? But in Baghdad, he didn't do that. So in Baghdad, this is the reason why he make some mistakes in the hadith. But Wasit, yes.
He stays somewhere close to Wasit because he can pick up the back
Yes, the wasit, because maybe he's the hometown, his hometown. So when he give the hadith in wasit, after he give the hadith, he returned to his book in order to compound. Is it any mistake or not? Yes, he compound. So if any mistake, he can change to the student. He correct the mistake. But in Baghdad, he didn't do that. So for this reason, compound. He compound what he said. After he gave the hadith of head, just he take his book and compound what he said. Check.
Why didn't he confirm it in Baghdad? Because his book is not around.
It's not around with him.
Oh, the book is not there.
Yes.
Maybe he stays in Wasit. Maybe? Or maybe?
Yes, maybe yes.
He can go back and pick up the...
Yes. So the hadith that he given in Wasit is authentic, and the hadith that he given in Baghdad saw mistakes. So number 2,
so his hadith in Baghdad are rejected.
yes. Okay, we continue to number 2. Man haddasa an ahli baladin ma fahafiza hadithahum wa haddasa an ghayrihim falan yahfaz anhu. Man haddasa an ahli baladin ma fahafiza hadithahum wa haddasa an ghayrihim falan yahfaz anhu. So this is the narrators that they narrated hadith from the people of some towns. They memorize all the hadith from the ulama of that town. But when they travel to another town, they narrated hadith from another ulama of that town. So they didn't memorize the hadith from the ulama of that town. For example, somebody, he came to KL, he met the ulama of KL, he narrated hadith from them. All the hadith that he narrated from the ulama of KL, he memorized it very well. After he finished with KL, he traveled to Kelantan. So when he traveled to Kelantan, he met the ulama, scholars of Kelantan in hadith. He narrated hadith from the ulama of Kelantan, but he didn't memorize their hadith very well. So when he came back, the ulama know that. So they said, if the hadith that he give to you, he narrated it from the ulama of KL, we accepted, because we know that he memorized the hadith that he narrated from the ulama from KL. But when he informed you the hadith that he narrated from the ulama from Kelantan, we didn't accept it, we rejected it. Why? Because we know that the hadith that he narrated from the ulama in Kelantan, he didn't memorize it very well. So his hadith from ulama in another town is accepted, in some time is accepted, and in another town is not accepted. I hope you understand the example that I give you.
But it can change. In other words,
no, he cannot change.
no, what I mean is when he was in KL, he didn't memorize. When he was in London, he memorized. That means different ulama. He sometimes he tried to memorize, sometimes he didn't. It can change the place.
Yes, okay, he cannot change the place, because if he mentioned maybe for example, I among his ulama in KL, and Mr. Nick is among his ulama in Kelantan. So when he came to KL, he met me, he narrated hadith from me, but he didn't memorize my hadith that I given him. But when he went to KL, he met Mr. Nick, he narrated hadith from him, and he memorized all the hadith that Mr. Nick gave him in Kelantan. So when he came, he started giving the hadith to his student. if he mentioned my name, he said Haddathani Muhammad Kabir, we said no, we cannot accept it, because we know that the hadith that narrated from Muhammad Kabir, he didn't memorize it well. But if he said Haddathana Mr. Nick, we said okay, we accept it, because we know that the hadith that narrated from Mr. Nick, you already memorize it very well. I hope you understand. So at anywhere, if you see my name, he narrated from me, the hadith is rejected. But if the hadith is from Mr. Nick, is accepted. So example of this, Ismail bin Ayyash. 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 So Ismail bin Ayyash وهو صدوق في روايته عن أهل بلده الشام. وهو صدوق في روايته عن أهل بلده الشام. So this Ismail bin Ayyash, he's a صدوق. So if he's a صدوق, when he narrated hadith from his scholars from his town Sham, his hadith is Hasan, because he memorized the hadith of his ulama in Sham. He memorized the hadith of his ulama in Sham. But mukhtalit fi gayrihim. But when he narrated the hadith from other ulamas that are not living in Sham, in another places, so his hadith is weak, because he didn't memorize the hadith very well. So this is the reason why Qala Yahya bin Ma'in, he said, Innahu siqa fima yarwi an ahli Sham. This Ismail bin Ayyash is a siqa if he narrated hadith from his scholars from Sham. فَأَمَّا مَا رَوَى عَنْ غَيْرِ أَهْلِ الشَّامِ فَفِيهِ شَيْءٍ. But the hadith that he narrated from the ulama that are not from the Sham, so these hadiths are weak, because he didn't memorize it very well. I hope you understand. Okay, so this is the second example under second types under the An-Naw' al-Thani. The An-Naw' al-Thalith. So I think we stop here because of the time. Naw' al-Thalith. So next week, inshallah, we'll continue from Naw' al-Thalith, and I write another paper also for Hukum Hadith Muhtalitin. So any Su'alan.
There must be the request. Do you bring?
I write it. Yes. Yes, so this is the reason why I make, because I have a lot of works. So in the middle night, I remember you asked me to write this and this one. So I started writing in the night. So I went to the back lately and wake up at least 5:30 a.m. also. Only maybe 3 hours I sleep. Okay. Okay.
Ismail bin Ayyash did not memorize well when he is outside Sham?
Because maybe I didn't know why. Maybe when he, for example, maybe when he traveled to another town, maybe always he thinking about his children, or he cannot concentrate very well. You know, some people, if they travel to another place for study, always they thinking about their wives or their children or their parents. They cannot concentrate very well. But in his town together, he living together with his wife and his children and his parents and his relatives, so he have full confidence in what he read. Maybe it happened to him like that, maybe. But the ulama, they didn't mention why he didn't memorize the hadith from his town Sham, and when he traveled to another like Misra and Yemen and Mecca and Medina, so he didn't memorize it very well. The ulama, they didn't mention, but they only mentioned that all the hadith that he narrated from another towns that is not Sham is rejected.
Too much to memorize.
We should be comfortable maybe.
Yes, maybe the time, weather, maybe thinking about his children or his wife or his parent, many things, yes, many reasons.
Comfortable in Kelantan. Cannot understand the language.
But the Kelantan is a very peace. The Kelantan is very peace place. No, I visit Kelantan 4 times. Yeah, it's nice place, Kelantan.
Nice and cheap.
Okay, so any regarding for our topic, Soalan or